Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily News Quiz Analysis for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 2nd November today, and in this video we are going to discuss various types of questions in here which are relevant for your prelims preparation. Before we will start our discussion, I would like to give you the brief introduction about the video so that you will get more connected with it. You know, every day on this YouTube channel we upload this video. In this video we discuss three types of questions. The first set of questions which we discuss here are taken from the news articles. We take up the most important articles from the newspapers. We discuss them in detail and we derive the prelims based questions from those articles so that it will help you it will give the idea how the questions could be asked from these newspapers. So the first set of questions which we discuss here are related to the current affairs, and after discussing the questions with respect to the current affairs, we take up the second portion of this video. We take up the second part of this video where we discuss the static topic questions. Every day from last 2 to 3 months we had started to discuss the static topics also. We discuss them in a very discreet way, very simple way. We had started with Indian polity and right now we are discussing the fundamental rights. And in fundamental rights today we are going to discuss Article 30. So today's question would be about Article 30. We will try to give you the idea how the questions can be framed from these small and discrete topics. After we will complete our discussion with respect to the static topic also, then we will shift our approach towards the last part of our discussion where we will discuss few previous year questions. So the idea behind discussing the previous year questions is that it will give the proper idea how the questions do actually come in the exam and what can be the ways and methods by which we can solve those questions. And also it will give the idea how the UPSC has this trend of repeating the questions, how they frame the same question in different language, in different wordings, and how they try to confuse the aspirant. So this approach will help you cope up this confusion, and it will help you in delivering the knowledge at the proper time, in understanding the questions and also how to implement this knowledge in the upcoming exams. So this is in a nutshell about this video what we discuss in here. Now before we will start our discussion, I would like to request you guys few things. First of all, please do watch the video till the end. It is going to be very much helpful for you. As I told you what are the sources from where we take up these questions, and the good thing about it is the same source which is used by the UPSC, and we tend to cope up with the UPSC. So there are chances that many questions can coincide. The chances are very least in direct, that the direct questions would be asked, that questions will directly coincide with these questions. But trust me, if not the questions, but the statements can coincide, or if not the statements either, but the concepts which we discuss here will definitely be asked. So it is better for you, it is a safe game for you to watch the video and be on the safer side. And after that, I would like to request you guys, please do subscribe the channel and share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited from this initiative. And also please do write down these questions somewhere, do note down these questions somewhere with you, or at least take the screenshot of these questions so that when your exams would be near and you would want to revise the whole syllabus of your UPSC prelims exam, at that time it gets very much difficult to revise because the time is very much limited. But if you have these questions with you, as we are discussing these questions from last 3 to 4 months now, it will definitely, if you have these questions with you and you will revise these questions will definitely help you in revising the current affairs, as well as it will help you get a little touch with the static portion, and definitely it will boost your confidence before entering the exam hall. So without any delay, let's start our discussion today. Now let's have a look at the first question which we are going to solve here. You may ask me a question, sir, what is the need of taking this direct question here? there is definitely a need because the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve is in news today, as tomorrow it is going to be the International Day for Biosphere Reserves as it is declared by UNESCO. So, and in today's newspaper, there was an article. It actually described what are the issues in the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserves, what should be the government's approach in conserving the area there, the ecosystem there, and it also in this article it was given how the people conceive the approach, how the people take the approach, how the people understand and how they react to the approach which the government has taken with respect to the conserving these biosphere reserves and what government should do. So with respect to this, first of all, we should know few very much important things about the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. It is the first biosphere reserve. It was the first biosphere reserve program. It contains 5,500 square kilometers, and about the states which are under the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve, or the states which contain the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. As I'm not going to say it now because there would be no need to discuss this question. That we will understand by solving this question. And also this place is the habitat for elephants, tigers and other native animals there. So with respect to this Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve, there is large scale human activities, very diverse. It is a very diverse ecosystem. There are various tribes which are living there, especially for example Jinu Kurbat community is living there. you know and also the impact of British colonialism is very much evident there, as the British cultivated huge tea plantations there and farmers carry large scale agriculture. But the environment is very much suited for the tourism also. But as it is always said, the excess of everything is very much bad, and certainly it is very much vivid in this article here that how the excess of tourism, excess of agriculture, the way the farmers are using the fertilizers is directly impacting this Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve and how it is degrading or harming this biosphere. So also we are seeing that how there are continuous man and animal conflict because of the cutting down, increased population in this region. So with respect to this, the as it is always perceived that the conservation of a particular area is under the control of the government. So what people think that it is the government's duty to conserve the biodiversity reserve, to control the animals and plants there. So when any attack on them, when there is any attack on the crops or the livelihood of the people there, so there is always tendencies of conflict between wild animals and these people living there. And also there is a tendency of hatred towards the government because people believe that it is the duty of the government, they should react to it. So here the author, what she is trying to say, that it should, how the government should deal with it. There should be an equitable approach given to it, that both the people and the government should actively interact with each other and they should actively try to conserve this particular region. According to the author who has wrote this article in the newspaper today, she has given three important pillars of environment. She has described them as bazaar, which are industries, samaj, how the people living there, and the sarkar, how the government should do. These are the important pillars given by her. So this was in nutshell. I guess this much information is very much enough for you to understand the article. Now let's try to solve the question and get the basic information which is needed here, which can be asked in the exam. Here the question says, which of the following states is not part of the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve? First of all, we look at the Kerala. It is definitely the part of it. Karnataka, 100%. Tamil Nadu, 100%. So with respect to this question, the correct answer, if we look at which state is not part of it, it is Andhra Pradesh. So the correct option is option A. With respect to these three, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Kerala, they are the part of the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. So with this, I hope you had understood the topic itself and you had understood what are the states which contain the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. With this, let's move to the another question and try to solve that. Here the question is about which of the following is the major source of methane emission in India. Now same question you can ask, sir, what is the reason why we had brought up this question directly here? The reason is same, because there was an article. As right now it is a COP summit 29, it is being held in Baku, Azerbaijan, and most probably this it is also called as finance COP summit. In it, about this COP summit, we should know that it is in this a new term would be introduced, which is new collective qualified goal, in which the developed countries would be pushed to help the developing countries in curbing these global emissions. So this is in nutshell about the right now what we know about this COP summit 29, which is being held in Baku. So in this, with respect to this summit, there would be huge discussion on the methane, as it is one of the deadliest gas and one of the highest contributor to the global warming. If we will compare the methane, as mentioned in the article here in the newspaper, with respect to the carbon dioxide, over the period of 100 years, it contributes to the global warming 28 times more than the carbon dioxide. What we say, 28 times more than the carbon dioxide. It is more harsher than the carbon dioxide. And if the time will be shortened, then if this 100 years time would be shortened, then it will contribute for the short term, it will contribute 84 times more than carbon dioxide. So by this we can understand how impactful it is in how it can, what are its consequences and how impactful it is in the global warming. So with respect to this, we need to understand, what are the countries which are highest producers of methane, what are the major sources of methane in different countries. So with respect to this, with respect to the countries which are highest sources of methane, are USA is at top, then China, then India. And one thing, if we look at what are the contributors of methane, there are various natural concerns as well, natural contributors as well as man-made contributors. In the natural contributors, we can say wetlands, animals, etc. And in man-made, there are, various man-made activities. For example, the unscientific waste management. This is one of the reason why there is huge methane emission. Oil and gas industry, and also the rice cultivation and livestock. In the USA, if we look at, as USA is the top producer of the methane, so if we look at the USA and see what is the highest contributor of methane in the USA, then it would definitely be the oil and gas industry, then unscientific waste management. After that, it is the rice cultivation and livestock. In the China, it is almost same, but in India the situation is different. In India, the cultivation, rice cultivation and livestock, they lead to 74% of the methane emission. So we can see how agriculture is impacting the how we, from this article we can definitely understand how agriculture is impacting the global warming. So I guess this much information is enough for you to understand the article. Now let's try to solve the question here. Here the question says, which of the following is the major source of methane emission in India? First, unscientific waste management. This is one of the source of the emission, but it contributes only 14% of the emissions from in India. Of the emissions, 14% of the methane emissions are from the unscientific waste management. Then oil and gas energy, it is 11%. And then rice cultivation and livestock, it is 70 something percent, 74% I guess, approximately, is because of this oil and gas, rice cultivation and livestock. So with respect to this question, the correct answer is option C. The option D is India's methane contribution is least in the world. No, it is not the least. It is one of the major methane producers in the world. So with this, I hope you had understood the article. Now let's move to the another question and try to solve that. Here the question is about the conference of parties to the Convention on Biodiversity, Biological Diversity, as it is 16th conference of party is being held at Cali in Colombia. So it becomes important for us to understand what this biological diversity convention on biological diversity is, and we need to know what is India's approach in this convention. You know, as the 16th COP is going on, India has spelled out finance needs of India. And India has shown to the world that how we had spent 32,000 crore on biodiversity conservation. And also India has mentioned that we need more finances with respect to from the years 2025 to 2030, as India might require 82,000 crore in with respect to the conservation. And for that, India won't be able to generate this much money by itself, so it would definitely need the help of the other countries. It will definitely need the help of the other countries. So with respect this this article becomes important for us, so let's try to solve this question and get more idea about it. Here the question says, which of the following statements regarding the conference of parties to the Convention on Biological Diversity are correct? First statement, the Conference of Parties is held every 2 years to assess progress in the implementation of the convention. Correct. Second statement, the CBD aims to promote sustainable development through the conservation of biological diversity. This is also correct. Third statement, the decision made during COP are legally binding on the member countries. It is totally incorrect. It is not legally binding on the member countries. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is option 1 only. So with this, let's move to the another question and try to do that. Here the question is about which of the following statements regarding the insurgency in Nagaland are correct. So here we had brought this question. The answer to why we had brought this question, the answer to this is because the Naga groups urge, as there was article in the news where the Naga groups urge center to finalize peace deal. You know about the Naga insurgency. It is one of the oldest insurgencies, and it was before independence. They wanted before India got its independence. This insurgency was there, and they wanted to secede away from India. And the reason for that was they wanted to you know to protect their culture, and to have this autonomy which they want to enjoy. So to have a separate flag and all that stuff, they wanted to have the autonomy. They wanted to protect their culture and diversity. So with respect to this, after India attained independence, it became one of the insurgent groups in India, and it started fighting against Indian troops. And from 1950s till 1980s, when in early 1950s it was Naga Nationalist Council which became the National Socialist Council of Nagaland in 1980s. After that, this NSCN, it got divided into two groups, which are NSCN IM and NSCN K faction. About the NSCN IM faction, it is Isaac Moyuga faction, and the NSCN-K, it is another faction, Kanlang faction. This if about the NSCN IM faction, it was much active in the Bangladesh region, and because of the from the help of the Bangladeshi government, when the Sheikh Hasina government came there, they helped India in surrendering these insurgent groups, and finally they started to have peace talks with India. And from 2015 itself, these peace talks started. The Naga Peace Process Framework Agreement was signed between these groups and the Indian government, and they had given very much, very much unreasonable demands which they want. They want a separate flag for their, for their state. They want separate constitution for them. This did not went well with the Modi government, and it almost and this completely breakdown. This did not went good with the Modi government, and it was the complete breakdown of the peace process. But in 2019, government made a commitment to Naga political groups that India may provide separate page in the passport for Nagas, as they were demanding that there should be a separate page in the passport, so in the passports for Nagas. And also, for example, if India is going to participate in the Olympics, then the Naga will send a separate team there which would represent the Nagaland. As these are also very much unreasonable, so almost talks are over. So with respect to these Naga groups, India has, you know, Indian government they has uh, uh, temporarily told them that they will consider these demands what they are demanding, but right now it is very much least that India will provide them these will India will give them these demands. So with respect to this, the Naga groups they are urging center to finalize the peace deal. So this is in nutshell about the news. Now with respect to this, let's try to solve the question and get the more idea about it. Here the question says the Naga Nationalist Council was one of the first groups to emerge in the Naga insurgency during the 1950s, 100% correct. Second, the National Socialist Council of Nagaland has split into multiple factions including NSCN and NSCN-IM and NSCN-K, 100% correct. This IM, NSCN-IM, it was operating in the Bangladesh, which you should know, Bangladesh, and this NSCN-K it is operating in Myanmar, and they had not surrendered yet because they have the safe haven there. As I don't have a pen to write, I'm writing it just from my keyboard. So this much you should know. And the third statement, and the second statement is also correct. Third statement, the insurgency in Nagaland is primarily rooted in ethnic and cultural demands for autonomy and self-determination, 100% correct. So with respect to this question, all the three statements are correct. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option C. So with this, I hope you had understood a little bit about the Naga insurgency, why they are demanding the separate page in the passport right now, why they are demanding that there should be a separate constitution for them, separate flag for them. So these are their demands, and government is very likely to give them and to fulfill these demands of the Naga insurgency groups. So with this, let's move to the another question and try to solve that. Here the question is about the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. As we had discussed this act many times, it was in the news because the Supreme Court has given the clear reasons on which the bail should be normed. For example, if there are some health concerns. So with respect to this, it is very much important for us to understand what is this burden of proof. Here the question says, with reference to the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, which of the following statements regarding the burden of proof are correct? About this burden of proof, one thing we should know. Usually in other crimes, when for example any person is accused of murder, the burden of proof is not on the accused, it is on those who are accusing him. For example, it is on the authorities. They have to prove that this person has done this crime. And when any person, when the case goes to the Supreme Court or any court, the courts give him the bail until he is proven guilty. So he is, perceived to be not guilty. The courts believe that he is not guilty until he is proven guilty. So getting bail in the common cases is very much easy. But unfortunately, if any person is, is caught under the PML, caught under the Money Laundering Act, Prevention of Money Laundering Act, for that person to get a bail is very much difficult because of the section 45 of in the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, which gives the twin test. What is that twin test? What does it say? That first of all, accused is not guilty. The courts believe that the accused is not guilty. So it is the burden of proof lies on the person, that he has to prove that the person is not guilty. Second, that court should believe that if the bail is given to him, that he will not repeat the same crime. So it gets very much difficult for that person to get the bail. But there are certain grounds on which the bail can be given. For example, if it is a woman, if he is sick, and other, if he is a children, then then the bail could be given. So with respect to this, let's try to solve by keeping this knowledge into the consideration. Let's try to solve the question here. The question says, with reference to the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, which of the following statements regarding the burden of proof are correct? First statement, the burden of proof lies on the accused to establish that the proceeds of crime are untainted, 100% correct. Second statement, under the PMLA, the authority can presume that the property is the proceeds of proceeds of crime unless proven otherwise, 100% correct. Third, the standard of proof required in PMLA cases is beyond a reasonable doubt. No, it is not the standard of proof. But what is the standard of proof used in this is preponderance of probabilities. So what is this concept of beyond a reasonable doubt? That here the courts 100% believe that this person is, is not guilty, then only beyond a reasonable doubt that courts believe. It is not the case here, but the case is preponderance of probabilities. What is the percentage that this person is guilty? For example, मतलब कि, how much, what is the probability that this person is guilty? So this, if it stands beyond 50%, then the bails won't be given. So it is it is something related to that. It is not beyond a reasonable doubt. So with respect to this question, the statement 3 is totally incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are option 1 and 2 only. With this, let's move to the another question and try to solve that. Here the question says, India's first simulated space mission kicks off at, it was a direct headline of the news today. So if you had read the newspaper, you would definitely mark it correctly. It, started at Leh in Ladakh, as India is going for the manned mission. So there are these simulations will start now, where they will create the environment like the moon, and they will do the drills there with respect to that. And India's first simulated space mission had started in Leh in Ladakh. These are analog space missions. With this, let's move to the last question from the current affairs and let's try to solve that. Here the question is about the Bandiya Tiger Reserve is located in which state? Why is this in news? Why we had brought this question? Because 10 elephants have died in Bandiya Tiger Reserve, and it has raised huge questions, and people are demanding the CBI probe with respect to this, why these 10 elephants have died. So with respect to this, we need to know where this Bandiya Tiger Reserve is located. It is definitely located in Maharashtra. So with this, we had completed the questions which are related to the current affairs. Now let us shift towards the second part of our discussion, where we will solve a static question. Here the question is about the Article 30. Let's see what the question says. Which of the following statements regarding Article 30 of the Indian Constitution are correct? First statement, Article 30 grants minorities the right to establish and administer educational institutions of their choice. 100% correct, nothing wrong with this statement. Second statement, the term minorities under Article 30 includes religious minorities but not linguistic minorities. Totally incorrect, big cross here, because it does include both religious as well as linguistic minorities. Statement 3, the right to administer educational institutions under Article 30 is subject to reasonable restrictions. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 3 only. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option B. With this, let's move to the last part of our discussion, where we will try to solve some previous year questions, and we will try to understand what is the trend which is used by the UPSC in framing such questions. Here the question is about the Karachi session. Let us see what the question says. For the Karachi session of Indian National Congress in 1931. So here one thing we should understand, that UPSC has this trend. They will ask questions from the statements itself. Next time you may see a question that in which year the Karachi session of Indian National Congress and who presided it, as it is also mentioned here, presided over by Sardar Patel. So they may ask you, in 1931 the Karachi session of Indian National Congress was presided by whom? So it becomes important for us to understand and read these questions very properly, read those previous year questions very properly, read every statement of that very properly, understand those statements, read about those statements, and get very well prepared for the exam. As it is rightly said that this previous year questions are the Bible for your UPSC. You need to study them. So here let's try to solve this question. Who here the question says for the Karachi session of Indian National Congress in 1931, prepared by Sardar Patel, who drafted the resolution on fundamental rights and economic program. So here the question says who drafted the resolution on fundamental rights and economic. You look at the options here. Who was the person who drafted the resolution on fundamental rights and economic program? Was he Mahatma Gandhi? No. Was it Dr. Rajendra Prasad? No. Was it Dr. Ambedkar? No. It was definitely Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is option B. Now let's move to the last part of our discussion where we will solve the last question where the question says who among the following were official Congress negotiators with Cripps mission? So let's try to answer that. Was it Mahatma Gandhi and Sardar Patel? No. Was it Acharya J.B. Kriplani and C. Rajagopalacharya? No. Was it Dr. Rajendra Prasad and Rafi Ahmed Kidwai? No. Was it were they Pandit Nehru and Maulana Azad? 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is option C. So with this, we have completed today's discussion. I hope you would definitely like the video. I hope you would subscribe the channel, and I definitely hope you would share it with your friends. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.